What's up, guys? This is Coach Grant with First Down Training, and welcome to another episode of our First Down Training show. Today, we're going to be ranking the worst to best NFL route runners, and then we're going to be getting into some current events. We're going to be talking about the Xavier Worthy situation and how I've been in a similar situation based on the facts of that case, and then we're going to be answering some of the questions that you guys have asked for us on previous videos. So I hope this is able to give you some value, guys. Appreciate you tuning in. All right, you guys, so we're going to be going over 20 different wide receivers in the NFL and ranking them from worst to best in terms of their route running. So this is not best receiver. This is purely from a route running standpoint, okay? So coming in at number 20 is going to be Javon Baker from the Patriots. So I would say this dude was a little bit underwhelming during the actual season. I think if you guys saw all the training camp clips that were coming out with Javon Baker working routes versus DBs on the Patriots, you thought the dude was this guy's insane. This is going to be one of the best wide receivers, one of the best rookie wide receivers, but unfortunately a little underwhelming during the season. I still think he's probably the best route runner on the Patriots, but from an NFL perspective, that's maybe not saying a ton. And again, guys, take all this with a grain of salt. These are all NFL wide receivers. If you were at a regular, football field and you saw one of these dudes working out, you'd be like, that guy's insane. But at the end of the day, it's fun to make these criticisms. It's fun to kind of rank these guys just based off of what I've seen and based on the knowledge that I have of route running. But at the end of the day, guys, these are all NFL players, so let's keep that in mind, okay? Now, coming in at number 19 is going to be Christian Watson. So I think Christian Watson's a great receiver. I think he's got great ball skills. I think he's good. He's got good speed. I think he's good size. But at the end of the day, his route running is just not quite there. I feel like on the Packers, he's probably the best route runner that they have. But the reason why I rank him so low is just because you don't really see a lot of great clips of him running routes. You see a lot of clips of him making plays with catches downfield, catches in traffic, not his rookie year. But I would say Christian Watson coming in at 19. Now, coming in at number 18, George Pickens. So George Pickens, I've seen him run some decent routes. Everybody knows him for his hands, right? Everybody knows him for that amazing catch that he's made, but I've seen him run some really bad routes. Honestly, I think he's one of those guys that maybe has two routes. He's got a hitch route, and he's got a fade route, or a stop route, and I don't think that stop and that hitch route is the greatest in my opinion, but obviously a great wide receiver. He's the Steelers' best guy, but again, I think route running is one of those things where it's very much so effort-based and detail-oriented. And when you watch George Pickens block, look up film of that dude with the run game. Probably one of the laziest people in the league, and kind of shows in your route running because, again, route running is very detail-oriented, and paying attention to detail is what can make you a great route runner. So that's why he's kind of lower on my list, I would say. Now, coming in at number 17 is going to be DK Metcalf. So Metcalf, I have seen run some really dang good routes, but I feel like he took a step back this year. I feel like 2 years ago, so 2020, what would it be? 2023 DK Metcalf was running some insane routes. I've seen him run routes the route that everybody loves to post, or at least I love to post. He's got a dig route, inside shade press, attacks the dude, swats him by, stacks him, gives him a move at the top, fakes him out, and then cuts back inside. And it's okay, that's the Metcalf that we all like. That's the Metcalf that we've seen, but I feel like this year he took a major step back and didn't really showcase that type of route running. Maybe there were some clips that I missed, but I didn't really see it too much from DK. That's why he's lower on my list this year. Now, coming in at number 16, we got Nico Collins. So I'm honestly not mad at Nico Collins. I think if you're I would say 10 through 1 are probably good route runners for me, in my opinion. 16, I feel like Nico Collins is right there. He's got the size, he's got the strength. I think he's insanely physical as a wide receiver. I just don't put him in that top tier route running crowd, if you will, or top tier route running ranking, if you will, just because I feel like comparing him to the other dudes on his team, Diggs, I know Diggs is probably going to leave the Texans, Tank Dell, then you start being okay, maybe he's just a big body receiver. He's a big physical guy, which is great, but that's just why he's lower on my list. Now, coming in at number 15 would be Terry McLaurin. So I think Scary Terry has ran some great routes in the past. I think this year, though, a lot of his best highlights, a lot of his best plays were generally just go balls. You know what I'm saying? Where it's just he got the guy by a step maybe. Jaden Daniels threw a great ball, and then he was able to make a great play down the field. Don't get me wrong. Scary Terry's a great wide receiver. I'm not saying he's a bad receiver, guys. This is just from a route running perspective. And so Terry McLaurin, I feel I just feel like there are some more routes in the route tree that can be showcased by him that I've actually seen him run in the past, but I feel like this year he didn't show a ton of that, which is why I would rank him probably 15 on my list. But at the end of the day, they're wide receiver number one. I'm excited to see what happens this year, though, because they have Deebo Samuel. Deebo attracts a lot of attention. They're not going to be able to double Terry McLaurin anymore. So he's going to get a lot of one-on-one opportunities, and I think if they ask him to run certain routes and he could perform, I think that's going to be a huge, huge help for the Commanders. So coming in at number 14 would probably be Garrett Wilson. This is a tough one for me to even say, because I was saying for years Garrett Wilson was like I was saying this for the last 2 years. I was like, well, this past year I was extremely let down, but the year before I was like, Garrett Wilson doesn't have a quarterback. Aaron Rodgers got hurt first week of the season. If he would have had a quarterback, you would have seen so many more routes that this dude was running, so many more opportunities, and then he got Aaron Rodgers back, and it really wasn't much. I've seen him maybe run like 3 or 4 good routes this past season, at least ones that have been filmed or ones where he got receptions on. So it sucks to have him lower on this list. I really, really like Garrett Wilson. I think he's insanely explosive. I would love to see him get out of New York and get to a situation where maybe he's got more opportunities to do those like kind of one-on-one type routes. Because you look at film of him at Ohio State, absolutely insane. But I just think, again, maybe underperformed a little bit this year, which is why he's lower on the list. I would love to have him higher on the list. Coming in number 13. I'd probably say DJ Moore. I think DJ Moore is one of those guys where like the routes that he runs and like that he is capable of running are insanely good. I've seen him run hitches and stops for like a full year. Like, it seems like that's all that's ever posted, and that's all that you ever see him get separation on is like a hitch route and then a stop route. And don't get me wrong, he runs it better than most. Like, he's probably the best hitch route runner in the NFL. I don't know if that's saying much, but that's just my opinion. And I would say DJ Moore, that's why he's kind of lower on the list, just because I feel like there's maybe not as ton of routes that he can run and get separation on, but there are the routes that he does run, he gets separation on, okay? Coming in at number 12 would be Amon-Ra St. Brown. Now, I played with that dude. I played freshman football with Amon-Ra. He was a running back when I played with him. And then I remember playing him in high school. Obviously, I wasn't a DB. This is when he was a receiver. And you really see the difference in high school between a 5-star guy and like a 3-star guy. We had guys on our team that were 3 stars. He was a 5-star. And we scrimmaged them. He made everybody on our team look foolish. Like, literally foolish. And it was just shaking them out of their shoes. Every route he got separation on. Like, it wasn't even fair, you guys. And so he's number 12 on my list just because I feel like he could get more separation on the routes that he runs. I think he's very smooth. I think people don't give him enough credit for how smooth he's able to get in and out of breaks, how smooth he's able to drop his hips, how smooth he is off of the line. I just feel like oftentimes he doesn't get a ton of separation, but he makes up for it by having great hands and being a very strong physical receiver, despite him not being the tallest receiver on the field like a guy like Mike Evans. So that's why he's probably ranked number 12. I think 11 through 1 are probably great route runners in my opinion. I think he's right on the cusp, and I think if he develops his route running to where he can get more separation, he breaks into like the top 8. Okay, so now coming in at number 11 is going to be Drake London. I was really impressed with him this year. I think 2 years ago there wasn't a lot of plays that he made on film that like really stood out, but I think this year you saw him being able to separate on the goal line, hitting like, I think it was against Darius Slay, where Darius Slay was outside leverage and London had to run a 10-yard out, and he went right at his inside shoulder, hit him with a rocker step, he jumps, and then he's able to separate and get underneath him. Like, that's a tough route to run, especially in the red zone. So I think Drake London made a ton of plays this year that put him into this top-tier category, especially with his size and with his height. We all know that it's harder for bigger guys to run routes, and I think he makes it look easy. So coming in at number 10, Stephon Diggs. I think Diggs, he's always going to be top tier, top class route runner. That's just the way it is with Stephon Diggs. Like, say what you want about him. Like, I'll say this about Diggs, and I've said this before. I went to a Rams-Bills game. And the one thing I don't like is a lazy receiver. And it was when he was on the Bills, and it could have been because Josh Allen wasn't playing well, or maybe he was unhappy, whatever situation you want to make up in your head about it. But he was only running his routes hard when he was getting the ball. Noticeable, because like obviously like I'm at the game, like I'm going to be looking at the receivers, I'm going to be looking at the quarterbacks, like that's all I'm watching, you know what I mean? It's cool to see it up front, up close and personal, and you see the way Diggs moves, and like when he's getting the ball, or he's a big part of the play and he's an option, like he's the number 1 or number 2 option, when he runs his routes hard and full speed, dude separates, like it's not even close. But when he's not getting the ball, it is noticeable when he's not getting the ball, and he's just kind of like jogging off the ball, like, a little slow, a little lackadaisical. So I still put him in the top 10 because I really don't think when he goes full speed and when he tries, I don't think there's many people that can hang with him, to be 100% honest with you. Now, coming in at number 9, you guys, would be Malik Nabers from the Giants. Dude can flat out play. Rookie receiver. I think he's the best rookie receiver. I know a lot of people think Marvin Harrison Jr., but I think Nabers is, because I just feel like his ability to separate, his ability to get separation with his routes, like I mentioned, is just upper echelon, I think upper class. And I think he runs much better routes than Marvin Harrison Jr. I think Marvin Harrison Jr. is a great route runner, and I really, really do enjoy watching Marvin Harrison Jr. play, but I think Nabers brings more to the table from a route running perspective, and he's definitely the wide receiver 1 in New York. Now, coming in at number 8, Tank Dell. Regardless of the injuries, regardless of his size, you cannot deny that he is probably the shiftiest player in the NFL. I think he gets bodied a little bit. Obviously a little bit injury prone. Some of the injuries that he got injured with are not necessarily his fault, but the way the dude runs routes is absolutely insane. Like, I remember I was first introduced to Tank Dell. I remember a kid of mine that I trained was like, hey coach, you got to watch Tank Dell. And this is when he was at Houston, and I was like, who the hell is Tank Dell? I don't even know who that is. And then I looked up his film, and there really wasn't much film on him. Like, there was a couple plays that he made with the ball in his hands, and then he did the Senior Bowl. And at the Senior Bowl, they filmed the wide receiver versus DB reps. And then I knew who Tank Dell was. And some of those reps are some of the most beautiful hip drop reps, rocker step, release, split release, like everything that you could possibly teach, everything that I teach in wide receivers, he had. And so it was pretty cool to see him move that way. And then there are always clips of him running great routes, being able to drop his hips and throttle down, being able to cut off of 1 foot, running a go ball. The way I judge a route runner is based on how many routes they have in their arsenal. A lot of guys can run one route. A lot of guys have 2 routes. I feel like Tank Dell could run every route on the route tree and do it extremely well. So that's why I put Tank Dell in the top 10. Coming in at number 7, Amari Cooper. Definitely, in my opinion, the best route runner on the Bills. Probably the best, maybe best receiver. I don't know. Shakir might have him beat on that. But I think Amari Cooper, like, just everything he does from a route running perspective off the ball, top of the route, I think is world class, and I don't think many people are in like Amari Cooper's kind of in his class of his own. You put him in the same class as some of those older school, it's hard to say older school, we've been doing it for a little while, so it's because those guys were like the new school at the time, but older school class wide receivers like the Davante Adams or maybe even the Keenan Allen. But Amari Cooper, class of his own. When he decides to hang it up, I think he will probably go down as one of the best route runners that there is. Coming in at number 6 here, we got Keenan Allen. So we just mentioned Keenan Allen. I don't know if you guys saw on Instagram, he posted some film of him when he was with the Chargers, like practice clips. Absolutely insane, man. Like crazy. Like the way that dude runs routes, the way he's able to separate off the line and top of the route, not a route he can't run, and he's a bigger bodied guy. And I like him because he's not the fastest guy in the world. Like, he's fast, don't get me wrong. Like, every NFL wide receiver is going to be fast, but he's not like a guy who's just going to run past you every rep and that's why he's open. Like, he's getting open by being surgical with what he does. So that's why Keenan Allen is number 6 on my list. Coming in at number 5, Cooper Kupp. I think because of injuries, people don't give him enough credit. Like, people forget the season that dude had. I want to say it was like 2 or 3 years ago, 2 years ago, I want to say. Dude is, in my opinion, top 5. Talent level and obviously route running level, but I think Cooper Kupp is one of those dudes, again, not the fastest guy in the world. He's a white guy. Hey, there you go. But again, he's not the fastest guy in the world, but he still knows how to separate. Knows how to separate off the ball, knows how to separate top of the route. And I love about Cooper Kupp how he's able to make his routes look similar. So like, you see him when he runs an out route, he has an out route where he cuts off of 1 foot. Then he has a post route where he goes 1-2 at the top. And then he has an out route where he goes 1-2-3, and then he breaks to the out route again. So he runs his routes very similar. It's very strategic, and that's what it takes when maybe you're like a 4.6 40 going up against a DB who runs a 4.3. So that's why I love Cooper Kupp. Now, coming in at number 4, Davante Adams. Don't think there's anybody in the history of the game better versus press coverage than Davante Adams. I put Davante Adams in a class of his own off the line. Best slant route runner in the game, best fade route runner in the game, and then I've seen him run routes like digs, like comebacks. So again, remember, I judge guys based off of their full route tree, but best slant route runner in the game and best fade route runner in the game. Now, coming in at number 3, and I feel like I put these guys above Davante Adams. Obviously, Davante Adams is one of the best of all time when it comes to routes, but I put these guys above Davante Adams just based on their body of work this past year, but also maybe like past couple years. Maybe there's a little bit bias involved with it, but it's going to be CeeDee Lamb. And I think CeeDee Lamb does not get enough credit for how well he runs routes. I think he runs the best post route in the NFL. Same thing, he runs a good out route. He's another guy like Cooper Kupp, where everything that he does is built off of each other. So like, you look at his releases off the line, he's one of those guys that will do like a little skip go. Then I love it when he'll do like a little skip and then hit a guy with a split release and then take off. And then at the top of the route, he'll use a 1-2 on a post, and then he'll use a 1-2-3 on an out. Then he'll do a 1-2-3 on a post. He makes everything look similar, and that makes you so unpredictable as a receiver. And if you're an unpredictable receiver, you're going to be a great route runner. So that's why CeeDee Lamb comes in at number 3. Number 2, Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill, because of his speed, doesn't get thrown into a great route runner category. But I'm telling you right now, the stuff that Tyreek Hill does, like, not a lot of receivers can do that from a route running perspective. Does his speed help him? Absolutely. But he can change direction, you guys. There are a lot of clips with him with the Dolphins where he's pushing vertical and he'll just sit on down. There are a lot of clips off the line where he'll bait a dude in with a slide release. DB jumps, he takes the inside release. Like, he's very strategic with his routes, and he uses his speed to his advantage. So I know you could say, oh, it's just because of his speed, but I'm telling you right now, guys, like, Tyreek Hill can run routes, doesn't get enough credit for it. Coming in at number 1, Justin Jefferson. I think everybody probably saw this one coming, but Justin Jefferson, I'm telling you, you guys, like, it's a different level. And like, the way he's built like a perfect receiver. Like, I talk about this all the time. Like, we have if you've been to one of our camps, our speed and agility coach, his name is Coach Dylan. And me and Dylan talk about it all the time. The best route runners at our camp are generally bow-legged. That's always how it is. I don't know how to explain it. But you definitely, like, when you're standing, your legs, you definitely don't want your knees to cave inward. Because that, like, knee cave inward means that you have, like, kind of generally weaker legs, and it's harder for you to cut because when your knee caves in, that's also a lot of pressure on your knee, but not the most explosive spot. Guys who are bow-legged, when they cut, they don't have that knee cave problem. I did a camp with Justin Jefferson one time. He is the most bow-legged individual I have ever seen. It was almost like a circle with his legs. So when the dude hits like a 1-2 at the top of the route, it's just nasty. When he drops on a dime and drops his hips, like, it makes sense. Like, just the dude is built to be a wide receiver. So Justin Jefferson obviously is number 1 for me. I know he's battled some injuries in the past, but I hope that he continues on the trajectory he's going, because I really don't think we'll see anything like it again if he keeps doing what he's doing. But that's our top 20, you guys, from worst to best NFL route runners. Now, fellas, before we get into some current events today, if you are trying to gain weight this offseason as a football player, check out that very first link in the description below where you can get our AG Labs Whey Protein Powder. This is a supplement company that I started with my brother. We made a line of supplements, protein powder, creatine, pre-workout, specifically for athletes to help with development, strength, and weight gain. So guys, if you want to get your own protein powder, this is our salted caramel frappuccino flavor. We also have cookies and cream, chocolate peanut butter brownie, cinnamon snickerdoodle, the works. Some of the best tasted protein out there. So guys, go to that very first link in the description below. Use the promo code FIRST25, FIRST25 at checkout, and you can get 25% off your protein powder order. We'd love to get you on that. So let's talk about some current events, you guys. So first current event, somebody asked me to talk about this last week, and I wanted to hold off on it because I wanted to know the full facts of the story. Chiefs wide receiver Xavier Worthy was arrested, won't be charged after arrest in Texas. So this is what I heard about the story, and I have kind of some personal experience to share with something similar to this. So he was involved with like a girlfriend of his, and so what happened was he figured out that that girlfriend was cheating on him. I heard that he hired a private investigator. I don't know if that's true or not. There's no way to prove that. We don't know. But he found out that she was cheating, and he got upset and pretty much told her, like, hey, to go pound sand, go kick rocks. And she put hands on him, assaulted him, honestly, if we're being honest, that's allegedly, and he did not put his hands on her, and then she decides to call the police. They arrest him, and here's the thing, I found this out from a buddy of mine who had been in a situation actually similar to this. He was dating this girl who was a little crazy, and the girl like stabbed him, like full-fledged, and I was like, dude, you didn't call the police after she stabbed you? She didn't press charges? He said that if you call the police to a domestic violence situation, like it's a domestic violence call, an arrest has to be made. So if she just says, oh, he attacked me, she could be completely lying, or vice versa. He could say she attacked me and be completely lying. An arrest has to be made. They could either arrest both of you or one of you. So he didn't even press charges after he got literally stabbed. He just went to the emergency room, got it taken care of, and then that was that. So in this situation, she probably called the police, said a lot of things, allegedly, and he was arrested. Now, what they go on to say is that like his lawyers and himself were fully cooperative in the situation, and that they're not going to charge him. They have nothing to stick because, like, again, they were fully cooperative and they presented the facts of the situation. So he didn't get arrested, or he got arrested, but he's not thrown in jail. Nothing bad like that happened. So what's the moral of the story here, you guys? Now, I'm not saying Xavier Worthy was perfect. Nobody's perfect. I'm sure both parties had a lot of probably issues, and it's probably not a good match. But the moral of the issue is that if you come into any type of success, you guys, any type of just like, success in football, success in life, success in business, you have to be very careful the people that are around you. You have to be insanely careful. Like, I was in a situation similar to this one. Like, I'll give you a light background on the story. And the thing is too, as like a man, you are extremely ridiculed in today's society. And I'm not saying all men are perfect and all men are angels, because they're not. Like, there are a lot of bad dudes out there, just like there are a lot of bad women out there. But you hear it time and time again about women making up these false accusation stories against men, and there's really not much consequences for the women who make this stuff up. And again, sometimes there's truth to the situation, sometimes there's not, right? Like, I'm just trying to point this out from a perspective that I have as a mentor to younger athletes or younger people watching this video. Just be very careful the people that you put around you. Because I was in a situation where I was dating a girl, and this is when I had just kind of started to come into some success, some money, some financial gain, whatever. And I was dating this girl, and we had broken up. We were broken up for a little bit, and then we decided to get back together. And during that time that we were broken up a little bit, I went on like a couple dates here and there with people. And so when we got back together, we were in a little bit of an argument, and she found out about it. And when she found out about that, and again, say what you want, I thought I wasn't in the wrong because there was like time in between. It is what it is. It's not important. She hauls off and bam, smacks me right across my face, grabs my neck, starts choking me out, like scratches up my neck, tries to choke me like almost like a jiu-jitsu choke. And it took so much restraint from me to not react to that. And as a man, you guys have to understand, women need to be held accountable for that type of behavior. They can't just go around hitting dudes, because one dude's gonna get pissed off one day, right? And that's not right. You should never hit a woman. Like, I'm speaking directly to the guys watching this. You should never put your hands on a woman. But the thing is, you got to have great restraint and great discipline, and understand that going into any type of situation that you can't do that, because the eyes are on you, especially as an athlete, especially if you're a college athlete, high school athlete, position of success, whatever. The eyes are on you, and people are against you because they want what you have. So like, let's say you're a really successful college football player. People want that, and people are jealous of that, and people will try to tear that down from you, right? So in that situation, I had to have so much restraint. If that was a dude, oh, hell no. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we're swinging if a guy does that. But because it's a woman, you can't do that, you guys. And I think about that all the time. Obviously, the relationship ended. But you can't, you got to think in those situations. You can't let rage get up and involved with you, because you can make a really bad decision. What if I would have hit her? What if I would have grabbed her and got her off of me, but then I hurt her? Then she calls the police. The police show up. They only see bruises on her, even though she started the fight. And then the police arrest me. And then now that's on my record that I was arrested for domestic violence. I work with kids. I can't have that on my record. You know how dangerous that is? You know how many people would be turned off if something like that happened? So I had to have a great amount of restraint. You guys need to have the restraint in that situation, like Xavier Worthy allegedly did. Allegedly, he didn't touch her at all, and she just called the police. Not saying he's perfect. We don't know exactly what happened. Only they do behind closed doors. But it's a great lesson for you guys to understand. Because what did all the headlines say about Xavier Worthy? Chiefs wide receiver arrested, domestic violence, domestic abuse, yada, yada, yada. So now he's got to clear his name. Right? Even though it wasn't true, and there are probably people even out there still that believe that he was in the wrong, when it's come out in multiple stories across multiple news outlets that he's not, and that they're not even going to be pressing charges, and they're not even going to detain him. So I say this because as men, as young athletes, as young adults, you need to show restraint in so many situations, because there is a target on your back. Anytime that you have any level of success, that can be ripped away from you with a lack of discipline and acting on your emotions right away. So that's what I have to say about that. Now, again, nobody ever wants to be in that situation. And I'm not crying victim and being like, oh my God, I was hit. Like, at the end of the day, it didn't really hurt. But like, still, like, No person should act like that, but you gotta have great restraint in those moments, because a lot of men don't have restraint in those moments, and that's what gets them into a lot of trouble. That's all I'm gonna say about that. So now, next story that we're gonna go over. Reports Sam Darnold signs a 3-year deal with the Seattle Seahawks. I think that's great for Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold grew up, little backstory, I'm in Southern California, and Sam Darnold grew up maybe like 45 minutes from where I live in San Clemente, and was just a stud, great high school player. Obviously went and played at USC, and I'm such a huge fan of Sam Darnold. I think he's so good. I think his playoff game this past year was awful, and I don't think that's who Sam Darnold is as a player. I think Sam Darnold is one of the best quarterbacks at extending the play, and when he's on, he's freaking on. So I'm excited for him. I hope he gels well in Seattle. I hope he can gel with those receivers as well. Now, fellas, what we're going to get into is we're going to get into some questions now. So at the end of every single episode, what we do is we will answer questions that you guys have asked on previous episodes. So if you guys have questions and you want to be featured on our next episode of the show, go to the comment section below, you guys. Post a question on there, and I will be happy to feature it on our next episode. We appreciate everybody tuning in, and especially you guys watching it till the end. So let's get into some questions, you guys. We'll read these through, and hopefully these can give you as much value as possible. So question number 1 is going to be from Dennis Andrew 4149. Could you rank your top footballs you've ever used? I know the GST is universally the most used one in high school, but have you ever used Team Issue, Alpha, Spalding, Dime, Vapor Elite, etc.? Which one is the best coming off your hand in your opinion? Love the question. Best football, in my opinion, Wilson GST. Second would be a Team Issue. Team Issue ball. Just something about the laces of a Team Issue ball. Double-sided Nike football. Then I would probably say the Nike Vapor Elite football. I would say the Wilson Omega. Don't waste your money, though. I think it's a waste of money. Don't tell Wilson I said that. But I would say it's a waste of your money. And then I would say probably my least favorite footballs are the Adidas Dime. Can't stand it. I just don't like the way it fits my hand. And then any Spalding football, awful. If you've ever used a Spalding football, you know what I'm talking about. The worst freaking football. Spalding should never make a football ever again. Like they should not even attempt. Like the Spalding J5V, the Alpha, horrible footballs that I absolutely hate. So Spalding is dead last on my list, but I appreciate you asking me that, Dennis. Thanks for watching the videos, man. All right, from Jean-Ann Moon 7865. Hey, Coach, my son wants to play running back next year as an incoming freshman. He's a little overweight, 5'5", 162. He's not very fast. How do we get faster and lose body fat? Losing body fat, I would say do cardio in the morning without eating breakfast. So they call it fasted cardio. So just hop on the treadmill, 30 minutes, walk on an incline. I think that would be great for you before you eat breakfast, and that'll help you burn some fat. And then also what I would say to get faster, 3 things. Train with resistance, so running up hills, running with a sled. Then I would say work on your running form, so you could either run track or get a dedicated speed coach to teach you how to run. So many athletes don't know the proper way to run. And then explosive movements in the gym. So Olympic lifts, box jumps, I think those are great. Any type of plyometric training. If you go to YouTube and just type in plyometric exercises, there's tons that you can do. And the reason why those are important is every athlete has 2 types of muscle fibers. You have fast twitch muscle fibers and then slow twitch fibers. You want to increase the fast twitch muscle fiber count in your body. You want more fast twitch than you have slow twitch. So how you do that is by exerting all out effort with the things that you do. So running sprints, box jumps, try to exert as much effort as you can, and that will help you increase that count. So I hope that's able to help. Appreciate you asking that. Next one from Relaxation Studio Net. Coach, how do you deal with a coach that refuses to give you reps when you ask for advice? They're hesitant. If he doesn't give you, I would just honestly what I would do honestly is I would ask the coach and just be like, hey, coach, what can I do to earn more reps? Don't ask, can I have more reps? That's the wrong way to go about it. I think coaches, I know how to talk to coaches. I am a coach, I'm more of a trainer. I would think of myself as more of like a mentor in a sense to you guys rather than like a coach-player relationship. But I've dealt with a lot of high school coaches and like they're very egotistical people at times. And I think if you go up and you demand things like, I want this, I want that, I think that's the wrong way to go about it. It's only gonna piss them off. I think if you go up to them and be like, hey coach, you know, like I really want to get more reps. What can I do to earn more reps? Because I don't want to be given, what can I do to earn more reps? And if you phrase the question like that, he'll probably tell you, hey, you're going to do X, Y, Z. And then I would perform X, Y, Z. And then That's just all you can really do. And then I would go back to him and be like, hey coach, I feel like I've improved in these areas, wondering if I can get some more reps. Then you could go back and ask, but you got to earn it first. So hope that was able to help, man. Hope that answers your question. I know it's a tough situation, but I hope that was able to help. All right, guys, appreciate y'all tuning in. Hope this video was able to give you some value. We'll be back with another episode tomorrow, but I appreciate you guys tuning in, and I'll see you next time.